Hello everyone, welcome back to the Time and Build Battle series. I hope we're all doing well. We're back, episode 3. We've made it past 1, we've made it past 2. We're now on to episode 3. Who would have seen this coming? Not me personally, I thought it would have quit already. We're back. There has been a few... Well, first of all, addressing the elephant in the room here. There's a station building and loads of station details, which was not in the last episode and wasn't in an episode, well, till now. That is my fault. I kind of forgot to press recording on OBS, so I built the entire, well, what you see now, and then looked over my OBS. I think this was around like 3 AM as well when I was doing this, but I looked over OBS and I was like, why is that not on? So yeah, that was a waste of a few hours, but I hope you guys don't mind. Well, I mean, I guess you just don't get to see that part of the building being constructed, sadly, but it's what it is, I guess. But the rest of it, I'm pretty sure, is mainly recorded. Hopefully in the future episode you'll see us fully complete the station, but we're making the station finally. We finally got a theme for it. It's based on, well, it's not a particular theme, I'd say. It's more based on a series called Arcane. To be fair, most people probably know what Arcane is by now, at least I'd hope, because of it is quite a big series. But the style of buildings, especially the reference I went over, is this, someone made like a port over Piltover, I think it's called, and it was like a really nice looking reference that I wanted to try and do, especially for the station, because it's like buildings stacked on top of buildings, but not with like modern style, more with like I'd say a medieval style. That's the only way I can really describe it, really, is that arcane style, because it's the only thing that's really done it before, if I'm honest, and it just looks incredible. So I wanted to try and make something like that for the station, and in the end I think it worked out really well. It looks really nice, especially with all the details I put in, with the gold highlights that like match with just the sandstone-y colour of the building, with like the red accent, orange accent. It ends up looking really nice, and to be fair, it's probably the best station building I've ever made in this game. If not the best, probably themed coaster I've ever made in this game, just purely based on the detail I put into the station. Because I would probably say, to count all the pieces, it would probably be around 5,000 items, maybe more even, just purely based on the fact that I kept layering it. Like this part you see me building currently isn't even the highest point of the station. The highest point probably ends up going, which you'll see in a future video, because of this one station building just takes so long to make. But the highest point is nearly double the height of this clock tower thing I've made, which is just mad, because you'll be inside the station, look up, and it'll be like a cathedral inside. It's huge, but it looks incredible, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. The interior that's going to be a lot of work, because of, well, I wanted the interior to look as good as the exterior does, so I'm going to try and put like a lot of work into making those like wooden beams you see in like the cathedrals that are like have all those intricate patterns on them. Because those look incredible, and I really want to see if I can get that to work for the interior. Because I don't want to just leave it like not have like a full roof and then like just place a primitive at the bottom and have it be a box, just so then I don't do the rest of it. Because I feel like that would be doing the station a bit of like disjustice, you know, especially for the amount of work I've done to the exterior. So I really want to work on that interior, make it look as well as the exterior does, and well, hopefully that happens. A lot of the work you see me do in this episode is just purely in this one segment, because how I designed the station is I did it like one segment at each time. So I started from the front, and then I just started layering it more and more, because I wasn't quite sure on how it would turn out in the end, because I don't know if this was going to be the highest point, or if there's another part that's going to be the highest point. Obviously the other part would be the highest point, but I didn't really know what to do, because at this point in the build battle, it was purely by a stroke of luck that I found the reference that I managed to, well, that I did this theme instead. Because of originally what I was thinking of doing was like an alpine thing, like I normally do. And I'm very glad I didn't, because of, well, it probably wouldn't have looked as good as this did. And because I just do alpine so much, like all my medieval builds, alpine builds, it gets a bit tiring of doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again in theme park. So I wanted to branch out. You can see people joining in the top because of like I think this was it was around Christmas time or just after Christmas, so like people started joining again, and the amount of times the server crashed during some of these recordings were just so stupid. Like you would have Tizzy join, because he was also doing the build battle, and his build battle like skyrocketed in MB really quickly, to about, I think it was like 3 MB. So like that would crash the server every 5 seconds. Jack's Nemesis Reborn recreation would also crash the server. You have Crazy's Hyperion recreation, that's about 2 MB, crash the server. Like having all these loaded would just crash the server over and over again. It was just like, oh my god, just let me build. But we got there, through it all. Roblox really needs to fix their system, man. Theme park just is struggling because of it. But yeah, so we move on to doing some interior details. Not a lot, it's just copying the exterior onto the interior, and then just closing up the gaps within the walls for the clock tower thing. There was a word for this thing, 'cause it's not really like a church or a cathedral, it's I forgot what it's called, but it's a yeah, I actually can't remember. I'll think of it at some point, but this building just, yeah, like the more details you add to it, the better it looks. So just I keep going in, adding more. Like I see a blank wall, just keep adding more to it. I do leave the middle open here, as you can see at this point, with the gold parts just open, with like a gap in the middle, because I wasn't quite sure what I was going to put there, whether there was going to be like a design, a logo, a window. I think I ended up putting a window there in the end, because it was the only thing that kind of worked with the style of the building, because I tried quite a few different things off camera, I'm pretty sure, and they just didn't end up working. Cause I think one of them was like a flag, like with a design on it. I think it was a was it a horse? It might have been a horse. It did not look good, so I just deleted the thing. But yeah, I'm still very chuffed with how this building turned out, and especially with all like the different texturing I did. So a lot of the textures aren't the same, so you can see here there's like a gold glacier. Glacier's really good for doing like gold accents that shine. If you really want like a popping gold texture, one of the best ones to do is foil. Foil just like makes it look really sparkly, but you don't want to do like the whole thing foil, the whole thing glacier, because then it looks a bit weird. So like, if you can see, there's a bit of, yeah, there's yellow sandstone, I think there's limestone, you have glacier, you have foil, and yeah, I think those are the ones that I used in the end. It just, and then you make them different colours, some shades of yellow, and then it makes it look a lot better than just doing a solid colour. But if you did like solid metal gold, then it would look really repetitive and a bit boring. So yeah, that's just a little tip, I guess. We move on to doing the very top of this roof now, which is another gold accent, but it's more of a it's like a slope piece with like a fixed point on each of the two ends, which then slopes up into a point with like a little design. I don't know, I just thought it would look cool. It ended up looking quite cool, to be honest. I guess it would probably be, so then like you would look up and you'd see that like glinting, maybe it held something in the past, don't know, but it just looks really cool. I can't really say much more to it. There's a lot of different, I tried different parts of the top here, so I tried like a little diamond at first, and I did this, and I did like a little I think I tried a circle at one point, and then just delete the whole thing because it wasn't looking how I wanted it to. Also trying to get it to line up as well, and to stop the Z fighting, because there was so much Z fighting on this build that I had to sort of shift the pieces back and forward so they didn't overlap, because Z fighting just makes builds look horrendous. But yeah, and then I go through adding all the different textures, the glacier, the sandstone, just to make it look quite nice. And then I add here little like roof trim bits where the little spikes on top, they go all the way along, and then there's like a half circle crescent pattern on the grey sandstone piece that goes like all the way along and back, which ended up lining up I think like first time as well. Same with the triangle pieces, they ended up lining up first time, not like an overlap at the end, which I don't know how it managed to line up perfectly, but we'll take it. I decided to make them different heights as well, just for like a bit more variety, because it ended up looking a lot better than just having just the same height ones. It looked a bit odd, so it's more like a little wave, and it looks quite cool. It's one of those, it's like one of those what's it, on those music videos, you see those waves going up and down with like the different notes, with the different like keystrokes, which I've always quite liked. So it's really cool how that works. But yeah, a lot of it, this video, is literally just going back, texturing them, adding the different glacier, whatever, just to make it look good. So it might be a bit boring to some, but to others they'll be like, oh wow, look at that texture, yeah. Another thing I don't think I remember it now. So it was I think it's the interior. I don't know. You could see it, I think, probably on the offload station over there, where you can see there's like a floor tile pattern. Those are individual primitive squares basically, and then they're just differently coloured. It's based on the Piltover bridge and like the flooring texture they did there. It just looked really nice for the interior, so I thought, oh, I might as well do it. It worked very well. I'm really happy with the end result. And another thing that I know I didn't show because I didn't know how long it would take was the details on the switch track itself. You might have seen them, I think you can see them a bit down there now. I just added loads of different wiring, transistors to make it look a bit more realistic. I had a reference for it where you can see like this metal bar underneath the actual, well, the switch track design we have in game. So I just added like, I think it's a metal bar on top of concrete, which then has wires coming out. You have some transistors, you've got, what else? You have, oh yeah, and then, yeah, so you got the different colours one, so you got the ground wire, the power wire, and the neutral wire. Because obviously you got those in your plug outlets and all that, so then people don't get electrocuted when trying to fix the switch tracks or whatever there is in the case of a fault, I guess. But it ended up looking good. It was a pain to do though. The item limit was not liking the transistors I ended up making. It took a while to fix, but I ended up getting something to work. It didn't allow all the stuff I wanted to add in the end, but it's got enough. And now we move on to extending the rock wall, extending the wall in general. I feel like I end up deleting these rocks later on. I can't remember if I left them or not, but towards the end, definitely MB was getting quite scarce, and same with money, and these rocks here were the culprit, because they look like the standard in-game ones that we have now since the new rock update. They're not. I took time to overlay one of the rocks we had in the game, and basically copy it with primitives, because the problem with the new rocks is, well, this goes with all the new scenery, if you go really far out, they go meshy, especially with the first trees we got. They look horrific from afar. They just look like broccoli, and it gets worse the more like trees, new rocks you add. The rocks don't look as bad, same with the alpine trees, than the first ever trees we got in the game that go really bad when they go meshed. But just to not have that issue, I basically mixed in those primitive rocks with the other rocks, just so you wouldn't really see them until up close, and when you're up close then they wouldn't go mesh, so it ended up working, although the ohm limit did scream a few times. I beg we get an MB update and an item update soon, because it's a pain. I mean, we did get an item update, I think, last year, but apart from that, we still haven't had an MB update in years. That's purely based on the fact that just Roblox just can't handle it in the slightest. Like, every time Tizzy, like, joins a server, or, like, a touring park stream, he will just crash it, because of all his parks, like, 4 MB, and then the server just cannot handle it. Or, like, you'll have, to be fair, any touring park stream, you're lucky to get it past the first 20 minutes, just because of, without a server crash, just because of everyone joining has, like, all these parks they want to show their favourite YouTuber and all that. It's funny sometimes to watch, but it can get really annoying, especially for, like, the person touring the parks as well. Like, poor Kosi once had, like, I think his server crashed 8 times in one stream. This game can be a love-hate relationship, you know, especially MB. MB is the worst culprit of them all, killing the most projects. But I'm guessing most people probably don't get to that point, either because they get bored or they just don't build as much in, like, one area. Because I imagine it's the worse it is the more you have in one area, I'm guessing the worse it gets. And grouping items as well. Grouping items, if you didn't know, also raises the MB. I'm guessing it's because the game processes it as, like, one thing, rather than all the different items you use. Which is, I don't know. That's my theory, at least, because of when you ungroup items, your MB actually does go down. So if you are having MB problems, try ungrouping stuff first and see if that fixes it. If not, then tough luck, I guess. But yeah, so we continue the brick wall. Yeah, they are bricks, right? Yeah. We continue the brick wall along just to do this, like, intermission point between the onload and offloads, because of the station. I was originally going to have it as 2 buildings, but I then decided to combine the 2 buildings together into, well, this one massive building, which ended up looking really nice, but it was just a lot of work, and MB limit, just, yeah. I mean, you can see me there deleting the floor, which I think I end up adding back, because I wasn't quite sure on whether if the building was going to get narrower at this point or wider, and then also, like, copying over the floor plan. Oh, I do end up adding the floor back again. It did get a bit weird at this part, because of obviously the coaster's on the other side, so trying to make something that worked on both sides that looked equal did get a bit weird, because of the overall building had to be equal on both sides, but obviously you can't put a wall on top of a coaster. That's not really realistic in a way, so I had to find a way to to get past that. So my end goal was basically just make the building wider at this point, so we make more pillars going outwards more, and it just gets a bit wider and wider, so it can accompany the bit with the coaster. I'm glad I did do that, because of the coaster going through the building, it's a really cool effect, and I'm hoping to add, like, maybe some dust flying, or, like, some light effects as you go through the swing launch, to just make it look more than just, like, an empty building, I guess. Since I think that would be a cool idea. I've never seen that on a coaster somewhere, but with that, we've come to the end of this video already. How time flies when you're having fun, I guess. We did a lot, you know. We got most of the building, well, we got the front half of the building done, and yeah, I think next episode we'll work on the top hat, maybe, I don't know, I can't tell the future. So, but if you don't want to miss a new video, make sure to like and subscribe, it means a lot, and I'll catch you in the next video of building Thijmen's Switch Track Build Battle. Goodbye for now.